whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, Gavin.Rich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel GBoot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Hi, I'm attorney Gavin and Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do but
Once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get all up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get all up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the real girls, rock steady in the mood. How you do the four corners? Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get all up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get all up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Gotta get on up, baby. Gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Little Philip Bailey there. What's going on, everybody? How you doing tonight? I know I'm starting late. Let me just explain my apologies for the tardiness. I had to keep pushing the time back because I was actually out at a comedy show tonight. I was getting ready for Saturday. You know, this Saturday I'm actually going to be out in the Lafayette area. And if you're out there, you can check me out at the Feed and Need in Lafayette. Big brother Mike Collins, hit him up for tickets. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be a great show. I'm actually going to put the link up there where you can purchase tickets if you're out here. If you want to come and support, this is our page. This is the page here. And you can see right there where you can go online right now and get tickets. Hit up Big Mike. Shout out to him, the listening party. You can go to eventbrite.com or call him at that number right there, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm going to post the link for you all in the chat. If you are in the area, I know my girl Danielle, you're in Thibodeau, so that may be a little out the way for you, but wish y'all could come on out and support. And let me go ahead. We're going to get this thing started. We're not going to waste too much time because I appreciate my guest, ladies and gentlemen. He is always here every Thursday to make this random topic Thursday, the looniness of random topic Thursdays go bright and make it right. And let's bring him in, brother Shawn James. Good evening, Shawn.
Good evening, Gavin. How are you?
All right, I'm doing fine, brother. Thank you for coming in, tuning in late with me. I do want to just go ahead and get into it, but I want to plug in first off. Congratulations to John Haynes Kickstarter. I believe you have reached your goal.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, and just so you know, Shawn has all of his books available on Amazon. I have a link here. You can go and support him by John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose. And let's just get into it. And Shawn, if you want to plug in something else you have, I know you're working on the Woman Crisis, which will be released in the fall.
Yeah, the Woman Crisis is coming in the fall. So we're just going to get into it because I don't really have any projects to promote just yet.
Okay, well, let's get into it. But the Man Crisis is a must read. I still have that in my Kindle. You must read that. But let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about this right now. What is a woman? Now, I don't know if you saw this and have seen this on YouTube. I'm going to share it and let me claim fair use because I'm going to break it up in pieces. I'm not trying to take Mr. Walsh's documentary, but Matt Walsh, who I believe is a conservative, I don't know exactly too much about him, but he made this documentary called What is a Woman? And it has been making rounds on YouTube. And my brother, I don't know if you know who this brother is, Shawn. He's a fellow YouTuber. His name is Laurel Porter and Laurel Palmer. And he has a YouTube channel where he talks about child support and all things that affect men in this country. But he was doing a commentary on this, and this piqued my interest, and I had to check this out. Now, I want you all, I'm going to play it, and I'm going to break it up, and Shawn's going to comment, because Shawn has seen this, and I've seen it too. But I want you to see the looniness that is going on in the world right now, and especially with people who are supposed to be educated. So that's a copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. And it's being allowed for fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. And it's for commentary and educational purposes only. So we got that squared away, right? So I'm just going to play it, and I'm going to break it up, and we can comment. But let's play it. Now, this is I want you to keep this in mind. This is a professor and a pediatrician, right, Shawn?
Yes.
Now, watch this. It's not a long clip.
And I have a medical degree from University of Connecticut, residency, University of Utah Pediatrics, and I've worked for a number of different Planned Parenthoods for 20 years. I do advanced contraception and abortion, as well as gender hormones, and sort of looking at the whole sort of schema of gender, sex, and reproductive.
Let me just stop right there. So she already said, you heard what she said. She has worked 20 years with Planned Parenthood. And she covers all the gender spectrum. So you already know where this is going by just when she said Planned Parenthood and the gender spectrum. And by the way, you support abortion, but you're a pediatrician. Aren't you cutting off your business? Am I the only one? Isn't that right, Shawn? Isn't that cutting off your business?
She definitely is, because she's got two positions that are completely diametrically opposed to each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on. Let's continue because I know we're pressed for time. But
justice.
So you've done a lot of work in this field. Could you just start by telling us?
Sure.
At what age can a child first begin to transition into another gender or identify themselves as a gender different from how they were born?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's research and data that show that babies and infants understand differences in gender. Some children figure out their gender really early. And the reason why we say, oh, that's interesting or important is because they're figuring out their gender identity is not necessarily congruent with their sex assigned at birth.
When the doctor sees the penis and says, this is a male, has the sex of male, that's an arbitrary distinction.
Telling that family, based on that little penis, that your child is absolutely 100% male identified, no matter what else occurs in their life, that's not correct.
Hold on. So she's saying now, Brother Palmer mentioned this yesterday when I was reading, and you heard this now. She said little penis. So already she's taking a jab at men, at males. Here's the thing. The last time I checked, especially when you see babies, if you watch documentaries where they'll have couples where their babies are birthed, where they give birth to their children, you will see the baby fresh out the womb, and you notice that everything on them is small. That's nature. The little penis, she's taking a jab at people with XY chromosomes. If you don't know what that is, if you need to go back and get back your diplomas to your professors who taught you biology, that's men. So she's got a problem, right, Shawn?
Yes, she does.
Now I'm gonna continue, but I'm breaking it up so you all can see what the mindset of these people are. I'm not gonna play the entire thing, but you gotta just listen to some of it.
So what does gender affirmation care? You're a big proponent of, if we walk through, a child is sitting down with you, is questioning their gender. What's the gender affirmation process?
Affirmation means that as a pediatrician, as someone who says my job is to provide the best medical care for you, is I need to listen really carefully. And how I put it in words for kids so that they can understand it is, tell me your story. Where have you been in terms of your gender and your gender identity? Where are you right now? And more excitingly, where would you like to be in the future?
Have you ever met a 4-year-old who believes in Santa Claus?
Mm-hmm.
So this is someone who believes that a fat man is traveling through the sky on a flying reindeer at lightning speed, coming down his chimney with presents.
Yeah.
Would you say that this is someone who maybe has a tenuous grasp on reality?
They have an appropriate 4-year-old handle on the
Sure,
reality
agreed.
that's very real for them.
Agreed. But Santa Claus is real for them, but Santa Claus is not actually real.
Yeah, well, but Santa Claus does deliver their Christmas presents.
I believe in Santa Claus. Just a thought.
Well, yeah, but he's not real, though.
To that child, they are.
When I see a child who, believes in Santa Claus, and then let's say this is a boy and he says, I'm a girl.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone who can't distinguish between fantasy and reality. So how could you take that as a reality?
I would say that as a pediatrician and as a parent, I would say how wonderful my 4-year-old in their imagination is.
Male gametes. That's what makes me male.
No, your sperm don't make you male.
Then what does?
It's a constellation.
In reality.
This, Lord, you can't make this shit up. Remember, this is a doctor. This is someone who gets paid to diagnose your children. Someone that's given a medical license to examine patients that are under the age of 14 years old, that's saying this crap. I want to play just a little bit more. I won't play all of it, but Shawn was shaking his head. But let's play a little bit more.
In truth, okay?
Whose truth are we talking about?
The same truth that says we're sitting in this room right now, you and I.
No, you're not listening.
If I see a chicken laying eggs and I say that's a female chicken laying eggs, did I assign female, or am I just observing a physical reality that's happening in the world?
Does a chicken have gender identity? Does a chicken cry?
Well,
Does a chicken commit suicide?
It cries when it dies and when it gets cut. It's certainly it's certainly not meditating.
Let's
What does that have to do
frame
with-
it because you're
The
trying
chicken
to.
has sex like any
A chicken
biological
has
organism.
an assigned gender, but a chicken doesn't have a gender identity.
So we assign female to chickens when they lay eggs?
We assume they're female if they lay eggs.
Oh, God.
At what age does the medical transition begin with medication?
So medical affirmation begins when the patient says they're ready for it. So that could be a kid who is just puberty and panicking because they're getting breast buds or their penis is getting bigger and busier and they're worried about all
Oh,
kinds
we
of.
don't need that big old penis. Do I need to play a little bit more? I tried to play as much as I can, but y'all see already just how loony these people are. This is a physician
Masculine
saying
changes.
this stuff.
And that way, puberty blockers, which are completely reversible and don't have permanent effects, are wonderful because we can put that pause on puberty. It's like if you were listening to music, you put the pause on and we stop the blockers, and puberty would go right back to where it was. The next note in the song just delayed that period of time.
One of the drugs used is Lupron, right? Which has actually been used to chemically castrate sex offenders.
You know what? I'm not sure that we should continue with this interview because it seems like
Why
it's
is that?
going in a particular direction.
Well, you're a medical professional,
I am a medical professional.
so you don't want to talk about the drugs that you give to kids, or
Again, I'm a physician and I use medication. You're choosing
Oh,
exploitive words. Drugs I give to kids.
I'm choosing a
chemical
word that was in
castration.
a dictionary.
That's not a correct term for puberty blocking.
I
in
mean,
a
I could
trans
look it
young
up on my
person.
phone, but I'm pretty sure if I looked it up,
You can look it up on your phone.
it says medical definition: the administration of a drug to bring about a marked reduction in the body's production of androgens and especially testosterone.
And I'm saying, as a pediatrician who takes care of hundreds of these kids, when you use that terminology, you are being malignant and harmful.
I mean, there are some who would say that giving chemical castration drugs to kids is malignant and harmful.
It's about the context of caring for a child and seeing the suffering that kids can have that have not been in affirmative home situations.
So we're going on this journey. Boys can be girls, girls can be boys, men can be women, women can be men. It makes me wonder, what is a woman?
What is a woman? A woman is someone who claims that as their identity. It could be many things to many people.
Bitch, what? What? Shawn, go ahead and take it.
Well, when I look at this woman, we're taking a textbook example of an Arkham certified individual. And every time he presented logic to this Arkham certified individual, they went into a circular argument. I'm hoping you guys notice that whenever you're dealing with an insane person, they cannot present you a logical sequence that shows how their position makes sense. So they go into circular arguments that go round and round. And what they do is they deflect. So we're dealing with a crazy person here. And what's really scary here is that because this person has some letters behind their name, people will take what they're saying as the truth, but there's nothing logical about anything that they're saying regarding the subject of gender. Everything coming out of this woman's mouth is basically completely insane, and her whole world starts to fall apart when Matt Walsh starts to say the word the truth. And that's when we see this female start to fall apart and she wants to run away. And she wants to run away because she has to deal with reality. And that's what these crazy people don't want to do. They don't want to deal with reality. They want to create their own reality. And what's troubling here is, and ironic is, that they're saying, oh, that children are allowed to imagine a world, but they want to create an imaginary world for themselves where they can go out here and create these different ideas about gender, talking about boys can be girls and girls can be boys. And they don't see how insane they are. But when I listen to this woman, this is the type of thing that I've heard from like the beta males I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis, and when I broke down the whole feminist narratives that are broken in the upcoming woman crisis. And this is a woman in crisis because she is so delusional that her whole grasp of reality has been shattered, and she's creating her own ideas about gender and sex and trying to make them into reality. But when you listen to her statements, they are just completely illogical. And as Matt Walsh asks critical questions, he practically shatters a lot of her whole arguments because she's sitting here, a so called pediatrician, and talking about changing people's genders.
Right.
And she's sitting there, and I'm sitting there going, you're arguing positions that are diametrically opposed to your medical profession, and your medical degree are diametrically opposed to your medical degree. So you're saying things that contradict everything about your platform, and we're supposed to believe that you're an expert. That really, again, shows how deep the mental illness is in this person. But what's scary here is that you have this person who has a prominent position, and people are not really questioning their mental illness. No, what they're doing is like what I talk about in the woman crisis. We have a series of enablers who go out here and support this kind of individual and their delusions in the world. Because this all relates to a chapter I wrote in the woman crisis talking about the rose colored reality of feminists. And this woman has a rose colored reality where she believes that sex and gender can be interchangeable. And that's a principle that feminists have, where they believe boys and girls are the same and that gender roles can be changed between boys and girls. And these were the core foundation of the man crisis and the core foundation of the woman crisis. How your radical feminists like this come up with crazy ideas. And because we have a series of enablers in big business and politics, like I saw the whole What is a Woman documentary, and all of them support this because they want to go out here and believe that they are supporting so-called women's rights when you're not supporting women's rights at all. What you're supporting is a group of radical feminists and radical individuals who want to go out here and redefine gender so that they can usurp God's natural order. But these individuals, in their efforts to try to change God's natural order, are creating chaos because these individuals, most people just don't understand. These individuals are mentally ill. And what's really troubling is, again, we have a pediatrician going against her Hippocratic oath, participating in arguments that are diametrically opposed to her profession. And she's sitting here talking about doing harm to children. And that's the most sick and disturbing thing about this female. She's sitting here talking about doing harm to children. And because a child cannot make these kind of decisions about their identity. And a lot of kids, they go through different phases. And she basically wants to give these children life altering changes to their bodies. And it just shows how, again, how these people are just so caught up in their ideals that they've gone insane. And the big problem with a lot of these so-called academics like this is that they live in a bubble. They live in their own world. And when somebody like Matt Walsh steps in and pops the bubble with reality, they want to run away to their safe space, which is the college and the university. And that's where these people, they like to hide because they want to be safe. They want to live in a smooth world where their ideas are the only ideas. And what's scary is that these people, what they try to do is cancel, shame, and bully people who disagree with them. And that's what makes these people a real danger because they are just like fascists. They want their opinions to be the only opinion. And when you have a crazy person with their opinion as the only opinion, that's a really scary thing. When I look at this female, she reminds me of the late Valerie Solanas, who talked about the scum, the Society for Cutting Up Men. And that manifesto was been taught in many feminist classes. And if you read Scum, you would see how Arkham certified Valerie Solanas is. And this woman is just as equally Arkham certified. And she doesn't need to be taking care of children. She needs to be in a straitjacket, locked up in a mental hospital.
Yeah, and the main thing for me is when you watch the documentary, that clip, and she got how quickly she got bothered when he brought up the drug Lupon.
Yeah.
And she knew where it was going because she knew she gave him out, and obviously she knew she was in trouble.
Yep.
She knew she was in trouble. And this is a pediatrician. This is a pediatrician and a professor that who should know first and foremost anything you administer in someone's body, anything you take, your body, body's natural function is to attack it. Anything that comes into your body, that's unnatural. Your cells, your T cells in particular, white blood cells, that fights infections, that
Yeah.
sickness and stuff. Your body is going to react to it. Everybody's body is different. And when you're talking about puberty blockers, you also have to remember something. There's something called time that doesn't wait for anyone. We all get older.
Yep.
So when you're saying, well, he can just wean himself off the puberty blockers if they want to go back, no,
No.
that's going to cause problems. That's
It's
going
going to change. It's going to change his whole physiology.
Right. There are people today who regret. There are some people today who regret changing their identity. They were kids when it started. And when you're talking about children, they can't decide first and foremost what they want to be in life. Children, there are different phases children have. You have the Muppet Babies phase, the Ghostbusters phase. I want to be a boxer. I want to be a football player. I want to be a basketball player now. Kids change their mind all the time because their bodies, they're growing.
They're trying to figure out who they are.
Correct. And sometimes it takes even after the age of 21 and so forth for people to figure out who they are. So to do this with children, this experimenting essentially as she's doing like the Isle of Dr. Monroe is disturbing. And it also tells you that she's not a mature person because the man was just asking questions. He wasn't rude with her, anything like that. And she wanted to back off. So it just tells you the mindset of how these loonies are. And you have to be careful because you got to be careful who you let your children around because you can't just hire any doctor or anybody apparently now. Being a physician, that meant something. Just like being a cop meant something. Today, it means nothing because anybody now can do it and apparently don't have enough freaking common sense.
Yep.
Y'all check out that documentary, What is a Woman? Because that was disgusting. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Oh, you had one more comment, Shawn?
No, I don't have anything else. I don't have anything else to add.
All right. Y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you go and buy The Man Crisis. Shawn brought it up. I'm going to share it right here on Amazon. Look at that, 4.5 stars. This should be 5. I'm going to add a review to it later.
All right.
I need people to, while I'm here, let's see how the book, I need people to go there right now, Kindle edition, and get The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. Only $9. Buy it with one click, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty good book. Now, we're going to move on to our next topic. I'm trying to keep it light today, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to talk about this, Shawn. Did you see what happened earlier today? Merrick Garland gave a press conference, and it wasn't a long press conference where they confirmed and talked about Trump's home being raided. The Mar-a-Lago home was raided by the FBI. Apparently, the United States Department of Justice announced today that it was moving forward with unsealing a search warrant and itemized receipt of what was taken from former President Donald Trump's residence at his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida, during an FBI search of the property earlier this week. Attorney General Merrick Garland made a public statement, his first since Monday's search and the first public acknowledgement that the department is actively investigating Trump's handling of classified records. So we're going to go to this. This is a clip of the video right here.
Certain.
And I'm going to play it for you all. It's not a long video. He wasn't up there for a long time, actually, when it started. He actually told the press that he couldn't answer any questions that they may have had. But I'm going to go ahead and play this for you all.
Points I want you to know. First, I personally approve the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter. Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly. Where possible, it is standard practice to seek less intrusive means as an alternative to a search and to narrowly scope any search that is undertaken. Third, let me address recent unfounded attacks on the professionalism of the FBI and Justice Department agents and prosecutors. I will not stand by silently when their integrity is unfairly attacked. The men and women of the FBI and the Justice Department are dedicated, patriotic public servants. Every day, they protect the American people from violent crime, terrorism, and other threats to their safety while safeguarding our civil rights. They do so at great personal sacrifice and risk to themselves. I am honored to work alongside them. This is all I can say right now. More information will be made available in the appropriate way and at the appropriate time. Thank you. Thank you all for your questions, but as I said, this is all I can say at this time.
So there was not a long press conference, and I'll couple this with the fact, Shawn, also that Trump was subpoenaed up in New York to give testimony by the Attorney General over his tax, his handlings of his real estate holdings in New York. And he pled the fifth to, I believe, 400 questions. He declined to answer questions on Wednesday, deciding instead to plead his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. For months, Trump had called New York Attorney General Tish James a racist attorney general, saying she campaigned on, we're going to get Donald Trump. So she got him at a deposition, and he answered. He pled the fifth multiple times. Now, Trump has been on the record even saying once, if you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? Now, I know the answer to that question. Of course, now his time is his time now to plead the fifth, which he did. And I'm sure he was advised by his attorneys to do so. Any attorney will tell you, if you're in a deposition, to be mindful of the questions that they are asking. And if you can plead the fifth to them, yeah, I would tell you plead the fifth, especially if it's likely to incriminate you. Look what happened with Bill Cosby. Some things, even if you're being honest and you're being innocent, they can still twist it and turn it around. Now, it's not me saying that I like Donald Trump, but it's just reality. But I want to ask everybody, and I mentioned this Tuesday, and I'm going to ask you, Shawn, what are not only your thoughts about this search at his home, but do you think this is all a ploy to prevent him from running for the 2024 election? Do you think, because all of this, I mean, Donald Trump has been out of office for over a year and a half, and we're still talking about January 6th. We're talking about his income taxes. We're talking about the search of his home. And it almost looks like they're picking on the man. I hate to say it like that, but it kind of looks that way, or they're at least trying to prevent him from running. What's your thought, Shawn?
Well, when I look at this whole Trump situation, it's really looking like what I called in a video a Trump obsession from the left. And it looks like the left is extremely desperate to get rid of Donald Trump so that people won't vote for him in 2024. And the timing of this raid really is suspect to me. Now, I am no Donald Trump supporter, but when I look at the timing of this raid, it really is a troubling one, because it looks like the left wants to get rid of Donald Trump and make it where he cannot run for office and be able to possibly beat their weak candidates, because many of the left's candidates are extremely weak, and your Joe Biden basically is in no position to run with an approval rating under 30%. So what they want to do is, I see it, is try to eliminate Donald Trump and make it where he isn't able to run. They want to be able to say that he had some documents. I heard on Twitter they were talking about these could be possibly nuclear documents, and they want to get people emotional about your Donald Trump, not understanding the paradigm that they're getting ready to walk into. Now, I compare what happens to everybody's attempts to try to take out Donald Trump to a girlfriend who has this biker or this thug boyfriend. And the more you try to take out the thug or the biker boyfriend, the more stronger you make that guy appear in the girl's eyes. And in the eyes of the public, they're going to see this Donald Trump as stronger because you're going after this man. And the way you're going after him just makes him people more sympathetic to him, because more people will see it as the left is trying to take away people's constitutional rights, because this raid was unprecedented. And again, the timing is what makes it look like you're trying to take this man out and you're trying to prevent a full political discourse as related to the next election, or and people's right to choose whoever they want to
Would
vote
be
for.
the resident
So that's a red flag for me. But as I look at the situation, it's really looking like really unethical politics on all sides, and it's just taking the country lower and lower with each passing day. So when I look at this raid, it doesn't really look good for the country optically. I mean, this type of action is really unethical, and it just shows how people on the left are desperate to hold on to power. And that's a really scary thing, because if you'll cross lines to keep power, you're going to be as bad as the dictators you say that America are better than.
Yeah. And you're looking, I mean, we're talking about this nonstop. Like, I'm, you would think Donald Trump is still in the White House. This man
Yeah,
taking the nation, he's taking the nation by storm. Still, we're still talking about this a year and a half ago.
well, that's the way it is when people are obsessed with someone. They can't stop.
They
The
need a
whole
boogeyman.
yeah,
Let me
they
ask you, go ahead,
they
Sean.
want to scare people into voting blue, and what they know that they can't run on their records, they can't run on the economy. So what they want to do is try to scare you into voting for them, and it's never good to go out here and vote on fear, because that's how we got Joe Biden. He got people to vote for him, and he governed on emotion, and that's why the country is in the bad shape it is in right now. And the definition of insanity is to do the exact same thing and expect a different result. And voting for people who ran your economy into the ground and hoping things will change for the better is completely insane.
Yeah, and speaking of which, this is insane. Stacey Abrams, did you see this? Now, I wasn't gonna. I just thought about this, but since we're talking about voting, right quick, did you see this video? Stacey Abrams, it's on Yahoo News. She said, "If black men vote for me, I will win Georgia."
Yeah, I
She's
saw
asking
it.
black men to vote for her for president, and I'm sorry, for governor. I apologize, president. Lord, we know she ain't got a chance with that, but she is not offering black men any tangibles.
Yeah.
Wearing that damn shower, that damn window curtain.
throughout the state, looking to really meet people where they're at. In terms of crime, that's a big worry for a lot of people. So when addressing that, are there kind of quick fixes that you see, or it's going to take some time?
Is going up across the state. That means that we have to have a statewide response. We
Now,
cannot put it on individual mayors to address.
she's about 5 point. She's a 5 point. She's a 5 point underdog because Kemp has a 5 point lead over her. And Abrams has 90% of the black female vote, but just 80% of the black male vote, with another 10 still undecided. The Republicans typically garner about 10% of the black vote. Experts say that Democratic politicians can't afford to slip far below 90% of the black vote overall and still expect to win. She got 97% of black female voters in 2018 and 88% of the black male voters. Now look at, don't this look like a Lord, Lord, oh Lordy, Lord, yeah, Lord, come on, let's go, Lord, we're gonna get Stacey, yeah, Lord. Church, that look like church folks to you?
Yep.
They're giving me
Typical,
vibes. Oh
typical
Lord,
Negroes.
Lord gonna work it out. Hope for hope. Black man, I'm gonna tell y'all this. And I don't care who here who hates me. I don't care who doesn't like it. I don't care if dip 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 roly poly don't like dip dip. Nobody listens to your damn dip dip show. You bootlick, Democratic bootlick. We know you get money from them, from the Dems rolling. Same thing with Joy Reid, Al Sharpton. I saw your video, by the way, about Al Sharpton praising, saying abortion is justified by in the Bible. I gotta see that video. I saw your video, but I gotta see him say that.
Yeah, it's in the article I put up.
Because he's a reverend. That's a reverend basically ignoring the fifth commandment.
Yep.
Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not kill.
Well, the God he serves is white supremacy, so
He
that's why
serves
he's going to
the
give it a
devil.
pass.
He serves the devil.
Yeah.
That's a false prophet that Jesus described. Remember, he said, even in the Bible, if you believe the Bible, he said that the first to go are going to be the priests and those that led my sheep astray.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm I will not support Stacey Abrams. A black man.
She's not offering any black man a tangible to vote for her. And what she wants to do is do what many of them want to do, pander to the black woman because they know that the black woman is gullible and she'll buy into anything. So what they want to do is try to go get the black woman, get the black female vote. But the whole thing is that the arrogance of the left is that they continue to take black people for granted, and they don't really value black voters, and that is shown by your arrogant statements made by your Stacey Abrams. She has made an extremely arrogant statement by saying, "Oh, black men just need to vote for her," without ever thinking, if you get into office, what tangibles are you going to offer to black men?
It's just like with me being an attorney. If I go, a client wants me to handle a child custody case, and they pay me half the money. I go there, the child custody case is handled. You think they're gonna give me the other half of the money after it's over with?
No.
That's the point. Don't be no sucker. Don't y'all be no sucker for these people. I'm not voting blindly just because what you look like. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Last topic I wanted to talk about this. Well, it's actually two, and I'll try and make them brief because I know you pushed for time.
Right.
But I want to thank you again.
All right.
I want to know your thoughts. I talked about this on Tuesday, but I wanted to know your thoughts on this. The grand jury that declined to indict Carolyn Dunham Bryant. I'm sure you know already that the district attorney, Dwayne Richardson, who is a black man, had put on Carolyn Bryant Dunham. He actually put a grand jury on, and they declined to indict uh, Carolyn Bryant on Wednesday. Now, this is article coming. This is coming from ABC 11, and I want everybody to pay attention to this. I'm just tuning into this. Actually, we're gonna go right here. Let me just
And Lawrence,
now let me put up the fair use disclaimer. But it's a 2-minute clip, and then the next day I want to ask you about this nurse. I know you got a video on it who killed 6 people out in Los Angeles in that horrific car crash.
We spent tonight getting reaction from the Duke researcher whose work shed new light on Emmett Till's case, and also from activists who've long fought for justice in the lynching. We also tried to reach Carolyn Donham and her family, who we know lived here in Raleigh for several years, but haven't spoken on the record
So this
in
is
over a
in
decade.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Is this the end
Yeah.
of the story? What happened today?
I don't think Emmett Till's story's going to let it go of us anytime soon.
Tim Tyson last spoke to Carolyn Donham in 2008, but the story he told in his book, The Blood of Emmett Till, shined new light on the 14-year-old's brutal murder in Mississippi in 1955 and Donham's role leading up to Till's lynching. Today, nearly 70 years after Donham's accusation that the black teenager whistled at her, triggering the boy's lynching, a Mississippi grand jury declined to indict Donham, now 88 years old.
I was not expecting them to an indictment. She's the last person living. Most of the evidence has disappeared. I'm not sure it's a very strong concrete case of concrete evidence, prosecutable evidence.
Tyson questions whether Donham was telling him the truth when she told him her then husband, Roy Bryant, and his half-brother brought Till to their home after kidnapping the boy. And when they asked if he was the one who whistled and grabbed her, she told them no and to return him. She told Tyson it was Till who spoke up and admitted to breaking the old racist social codes of the South.
Now, I don't any more believe that than I believe in the tooth fairy. It seems preposterous.
I don't think it's that difficult of a case to indict.
Criminal justice reform activist Don Blagrove, also an attorney, was vocal earlier this summer when a long-lost arrest warrant for Donham was discovered inside a Mississippi courthouse basement. Blagrove and others wanted Wake County Sheriff's deputies to arrest Donham in Raleigh and return her to Mississippi to face the charges.
Because what we've seen is that in our criminal justice system, if there is a political will to get an indictment, it is not hard to get one. We just did not have folks who were willing to see the value in Emmett Till's life.
So where is Carolyn Donham right now? We know she was living with her son at his home in Raleigh for several years, but we also know now that the family has since moved out of that house. The Daily Mail reporting earlier this month that the family is now living together in a small apartment community in Kentucky. Steve, Lauren?
This is the old bag here. Looking like the crypt keeper. And according to reports, she's battling cancer. So apparently she doesn't have that much longer to live on Earth. And as the clock ticks, it seems likely that Emmett will not get justice. But Shawn, I wanted to know what your thoughts were.
I was deeply disgusted when I heard about this grand jury refusing to indict Carolyn Donham, because it's clear that back in the 50s, people saw that she was partially culpable. And that's why they created the arrest warrant for Carolyn Donham, along with her husband and her brother-in-law, so that they could get punished for the crimes that they committed. Unfortunately, your white supremacists wanted to go out here and give your Carolyn Donham a pass, and it looks like they're trying to give her a pass even to the last days of her life. And this is where the Most High God is going to have to come and step in and mete out his divine justice, because we clearly see that your United States of America is still just as racist and white supremacist as it was back when Emmett Till was alive. So when I look at this whole thing, it shows me nothing has really changed about America. And that's the scary part, because people aren't really looking at this critically and seeing that if we could not punish your Carolyn Donham for instigating the murder of Emmett Till, and I would say even orchestrating the murder of Emmett Till, then it shows nothing has really changed regarding our criminal justice system, because like the old Nazis, this woman belongs in prison, because she willfully and intentionally led to that 14-year-old boy's death, all because she wanted to get attention for herself. And what's sad is, again, that our men here in America are just so weak that they would give this evil woman a pass, and they would give this evil woman a pass thinking that they're going out here and doing the right thing, when in actuality, all you're doing is going out here and giving this woman a pass And that just shows how America is really hypocritical as related to justice. We always talk about other countries and how unjust their criminal justice system is, but this one shows how much of a hypocrite Americans in the criminal justice system are. And this whole case again just disgusts me to even see this happen, because this woman belongs in jail. And again, if we had an equal and fair justice system, this woman would be in jail for the, or, even if it is the last days of her life, and she would be in jail for the murder of this boy and be punished for the murder of a boy who isn't, the only way he can get justice is when the Most High metes out justice by putting this old heifer in the lake of fire where she belongs. Because an evil person like this, the only place they belong is the lake of fire, because this woman was a demon, and she was a demon who just wanted to take a boy's life, all to get attention for herself. And again, that if that's not evil, I don't know what evil is. And what's even more evil is that we have a government that goes out here and supports this type of evil and looks to give this type of evil a pass so that they can get a pass for themselves later on. That really is, again, the epitome of evil. And I would have to say that it's on the same level as the evil that the Nazis in Germany had. You're going what's really more reprehensible is that you're giving a evil woman like this a pass, but you'll put a Nazi in prison, and you don't understand that this woman was just as evil, because she was out here teaching a culture of anti-black racism, and she looked to manipulate men with with a campaign of anti-black racism with the crap test she pulled that led to the passing of Emmett Till. So when this old bag passes, I know that I want to do a Rest in Hell video for this monster, and I know many others will be glad to see this woman burning in hell where she belongs.
Justice, Willie D said this earlier when he was doing commentary on this, and I said this myself. Justice is not for the dead. Justice is for the living. That's why we say state of Louisiana versus the name of the defendant, or state of New York versus whoever, as you know. The people versus, for instance, the people versus O.J. Simpson, or people versus Larry Flint. It's the people that demand justice and should demand justice. But Shawn, I think also, did we drop the ball? Did Black America, do you believe they dropped the ball on this case in not trying to get justice earlier?
Well, a lot of black people didn't know. I mean, a lot of black folks didn't know what was going on. We weren't really organized, and that's a big problem with black people, is that we're not really vigilant on these cases. We're
But we
not really.
were, but this kicked off the civil rights movement.
I know, but the whole thing is a lot of people were so busy enjoying their lives and taking their lives for granted that they weren't really thinking seriously about getting tangibles of justice. And what happened was we got a generation that was caught up in integration, and that's where the civil rights movement made a misstep, because once they got integrated, they weren't thinking about getting tangibles like justice and making sure that the system was just. So we dropped the ball as related to a lot of things that's related to vigilance, because we had a generation caught up with getting social acceptance instead of fighting for equal rights. And that's why this case fell apart and we couldn't get the justice we deserved, because we had people who were more caught up in getting social currency instead of trying to mete out justice for black people and making sure that there were laws on the books that protected our rights and legal precedents set. Because had we gotten a federal charge against these three individuals, it would have set a legal precedent that would have set a boundary for Black American civil rights.
Well, I think we also dropped the bag, but I think it's safe to say this: we dropped the bag, especially when we're talking about finances, because we haven't created anything for our children. But had we created financial power, as Tyree is saying, without proper financial power, it's not possible to have political power. And I feel, I know, let me change it. I know that first off, there was some brothers back in the day, like Roy Bryant. I'm gonna say this, and I'm an attorney. I'm not gonna speak as a lawyer. Of course, I abhor violence, but something that happened like that, where you kidnap a child out in the middle of the night, that's vigilante justice. Like vigilantes would go, if something happened to kids in their community, You see the vigilante of, the mob of parents that will go looking for the guy. You've seen them in the movies and so forth when they get angry
Yeah.
and upset. Those two men shouldn't have died, though they're dead, but they shouldn't have died a natural death. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. Or at least they should have had their ass beat and left right on the riverbank and water take them in like they dumped that kid. Because they went and bragged about what they did. They were not remorseful. They knew what they were doing. So I'm so, and any black man that ain't upset at this, something wrong with you. Any black woman that ain't upset, something's wrong. Because I get mad when I see this stuff because I know justice delayed, like Dr. King said, is justice denied. And let me say this also, that was a dog and pony show that this prosecutor, Dwayne Richardson, put in because I explained this on Tuesday, Shawn. Dwayne Richardson didn't have to do a grand jury. He could have filed an affidavit with the court and used that warrant that had not been served because it's still a valid warrant.
Yep.
It's still a valid warrant. It's signed by a judge. It wasn't executed because the sheriff didn't want to bring it in.
Yep.
The sheriff didn't want to bring her in. And he should have been honestly held in contempt 50 years ago. But this black prosecutor, this DA, I want y'all to pay attention to this. Because he's going to say, well, we tried, but we didn't have enough evidence. You had evidence from the sworn testimony of Mose Till. Emmett's uncle said he heard a voice, light as a feather, identify Emmett. Who else could have identified him?
She was the only one.
She even said it in her memoir. They were the only ones in the store. It's circumstantial, but you know what? That's enough for me. They convict people on circumstantial evidence all the time. Look at Bill Cosby. Even though that was a terrible trial and so forth, but you see my point.
Yeah.
Y'all pay attention to this. Dwayne Richardson, and I wrote a letter to Lynn Fitch, the AG out in Mississippi. Y'all got to pay attention this election season. Get these people out. Tyree said another buck dancer.
Yep. It was an empty symbolic gesture to make it look like he was doing something for black people when he was doing nothing at all. I mean, that's why we've got to watch out for these black bootlicks, because the black bootlick, what he does is he makes these gestures to make it look like he's aware and that he cares, but he really doesn't care at all. All he wants to do is try to pander for black votes. And that's probably what he was trying to do. He's trying to pander for black votes and trying to pander to black people to make it look like, oh, I really want justice for Emmett Till, when all he just wants to do is make it look like he's for us, but he's actually against us.
We need to go ahead. Let me say this. That's the AG. There's got to be some type of boycott on Mississippi. There's got to be a precedent got to be set. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Something's got to be set on Miss. That's the governor of Mississippi, 65th governor of Mississippi. Something's got to be said on Mississippi. Something got to be said on America. There's got to be some type of boycott of all something financially. It's only two things they respond to: money and force. It's money and power, Shawn.
Yeah.
And if you hurt them in their pocket, sometimes that's worse than killing them. I'm not saying that I glorify violence. I don't. I'm not violent. I'm not saying go out and kill people. That's not what I'm advocating. But I am advocating boycotts. Withhold your money.
Yep.
Withhold your dollars. We won't organize something until they bring charges. And look, this is the month of August. August 29th actually is the anniversary of Emmett Till's death. It'll be the 67th anniversary of his murder. August 29th. It's the same anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. That's going to be 17 years. And Hurricane Ida that struck last year. We got to send a message to the state of Mississippi. Justice delayed is justice denied, and we are not going to be denied. Let's do it. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, I'll be brief, Shawn, because I know you got to run, is about this nurse that's facing 90 years in prison for killing 6 people. This nurse, her name is Linton?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on a second. This is an ICU nurse who killed 6 people in an on an LA intersection in a crash that took place back on last week. She apparently was 37 years old. Nicole Lorraine Linton was driving her vehicle at 90 miles per hour and crashed into a car that killed 6 people and exploded. There was surveillance of this video. I will warn people, for those that have not seen it, I'll show it. It is graphic, but it's been circulating all online. But you can see the flame there. That's actually from the Daily Mail. But look at how fast. So she's clearly, this is a stop, obviously a crosswalk. You can see the vehicles have stopped.
Yeah.
And right there. She killed 6 people.
6 innocent people, and
including
one
a
was
family of 4. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
a pregnant woman and a child.
pregnant woman, her child, and the children's father, her boyfriend. Yeah. Now, she had a bail here. What's called, now that's her in court. What's interesting, Shawn, that's her. She came out completely. That's one of the victims, Asheray Ryan, who's 23 years old. You can see she's pregnant. That's her child, Alonzo. That's the father of the unborn child, Renald Lester. And you had a bystander that was there.
This is how you can trim branches quickly and easily.
I don't want to hear that. But look, she's sitting there unscathed.
Yeah.
Like nothing happened. And that's her there. She actually, I learned she was engaged to an Olympic silver medalist from Britain who died.
Yeah.
But George Gasson announced that they're going to charge her with 6 counts of murder and 5 counts of gross vehicular homicide. And she's, she's a cute woman, but this changes everything. And I mean, she's facing 90 years in prison, so she's essentially looking at a life sentence. And she's licensed to practice in Texas, Hawaii, and California, which is why she was there. And the company she works for, she works as a contractor to the Kaiser terminate West Los Angeles Hospital. The agency she worked for declined. She's working as a contractor there, but the group she works for is AMN Healthcare, and they didn't immediately respond to inquiries about her credentials because she's had previous accidents before. She had one in 2020, but she was there in court because they had a bond hearing, and the judge
This is how you can trim branches quickly
denied
and
her
easily.
bond, calling her a flight risk.
Within the county of Los Angeles or the state of California. Her permanent residence, as listed by her, is in the state of Texas. Her job is a traveling job. She indicates she has future travel plans to the state of Hawaii for her career and has numerous contacts throughout the United States. And you're requesting no bail as opposed to the scheduled bail, and can you indicate why? Because of the significance of this case, Your Honor, the number of charges, the severity of the charges, and the severity of the potential sentence she stands, we're concerned that she may be a flight risk. Based on that, we don't feel that any amount of bail would be sufficient to ensure she returns to court, given the strength of the case as well as the number of charges and for contact evidence.
So six counts of murder. I mean, that enough, that's a life sentence. I mean, 90 years, that's a life sentence. Even if she got 40, that's practically a life sentence. You get out, you'll be very old, but I mean, past your youth and so forth. But, you know, but I mean, she killed those people, sadly. Even if she didn't mean it, the fact that she drove fast, I don't know what her blood alcohol was. That all is going to come out now. To her defense attorneys have raised issues at the bond hearing that she's had a history of mental health issues or mental issues. But then the question remains, if she's got mental issues, what type of mental issues, and why does she have a license to practice as a nurse?
That's a good question.
How did that happen? But Shawn, I'll let you take it.
Well, when I look at this whole situation, it was really disturbing because we saw families lose their lives. And the motive for this murder was because this woman wanted to commit suicide because her boyfriend had broke up with her. And this basically made this woman get all emotional to the point where she wanted to drive her vehicle into traffic. And that's what makes this female extremely selfish and narcissistic. She went out here and wanted to take her life, not thinking about the lives of others. Now, I talk about this type of dysfunction.
Oh, I gotta stop you for a second. You know that for a fact?
That was presented in multiple reports that she had an argument with a boyfriend on FaceTime, and she had this argument with the boyfriend, and he was breaking up with her. And this is what motivated her to go out here and drive this vehicle at 90 miles an hour in a suicide attempt. That is what is alleged in multiple reports, in multiple newspaper reports, and it was presented on television news. So this woman had a serious issue with this man, and this was her motive, was to go out here and try to show this man what he was losing. And once she did this, it really showed us that this woman basically has no sense of responsibility. And again, it's like what I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. Many of these females, they get enabled for extended periods of time. And I believe what enabled this woman was the fact that she had had multiple vehicle accidents. And after having multiple vehicle accidents and never having her license revoked or being taken in for a mental health evaluation, because if she's a nurse and she's having multiple vehicle accidents, you would think somebody would go out here and take this woman and and hold her accountable by revoking her license, because it's clear that this woman had some serious issues as related to taking responsibility. Now, some people would say that this woman had a mental health issue, but I don't believe she had a mental health issue. I believe that she was enabled by lots of different people, never made to take responsibility for her actions. And once she saw that this man was leaving her, she wanted to go again, show this man what he was missing by taking her life. And she again showed her narcissism by going out here and driving this vehicle at 90 miles an hour down a busy Los Angeles street. And this again took the lives of 6 people. And this incident again was possibly the straw that broke the camel's back, as related to the this woman's just egregious behaviors. And that's when the prosecutor probably decided enough was enough and didn't want to give her passes that she had received for many years. And now that she's being held accountable, she's got to face up for the deaths of all of those innocent people that lost their lives in her ironic attempt to take her own life. And now she's dealing with a situation worse than her previous situation, where all she was going to be dealing with was possibly a breakup with a boyfriend. No, she's going to be dealing with a break from life because she threw away a good career and a pretty decent job, all because she got in her feelings over a man. And now that man is probably going to be going on with his life while she's going to be in the penitentiary for the rest of her life. But this whole situation, again, is just like what I talk about in my upcoming book, The Woman Crisis, about these females in crisis and the crazy and out of control behaviors that they participate in. Once these women cannot get any sort of satisfaction out of life, some of them look to go out here and participate in self-destructive behavior. And this woman wanted to participate in self-destructive behavior where she took her own life. And this woman is a textbook example of the kinds of women in crisis I talk about in The Woman Crisis, how these women are frustrated, not satisfied with their lives. And when things don't go their way, they go out here looking to do harm to others. And that's what makes these women extremely dangerous. And this woman desperately, she needed help, because if you're sitting here upset over a man leaving you, then it's clear you don't have good coping skills. And this woman didn't have good coping skills to deal with life, because trying to kill yourself over a breakup and take other people's lives, that is the height of narcissism. Because again, if you are having problems with a boyfriend, that is something that you just have to deal with in life. And if you're having trouble, you go deal with it with a mental health specialist. But this woman didn't want to do that. She just wanted to create a histrionic, melodramatic stunt to get attention. And sadly, 6 people lost their lives in her attempt to get attention from a man who didn't want to give her any more attention.
Yeah. Well, I say as a general rule because if there are mental issues, and I've mentioned this, shout out to Valerie Denise Jones. I was on the Judge Joe Brown show. Shout out to the judge as well earlier today. There are mitigating circumstances in the law if there are defenses where, if you're mentioning mental health and issues that could offset the penalties there, or even the charge, depending on the circumstance. Because murder requires Shawn actus, with acts. There's something called actus rea, but also mens rea in causation, and those are the 3 aspects of a crime. And while you may have an act in causation, was the mens rea there? Murder requires an intent element. Of course, uh, you know, it's something that has to be proven in trial. And if you're arguing insanity, if you're arguing mental issues, you have a burden of proof as a defense to bring all of that up at the trial. I don't know what her mental issues, if there any, are there. And as a general rule, I always say a person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. But there's no question when you look at the footage that she obviously was the person driving the vehicle that caused sadly the untimely deaths of 6 innocent people. And I usually just wait till the facts come out, but it was hard looking at that. Uh, you know, gross negligence that to run your vehicle at 90 miles per hour. And then what we have to talk about, and the problem I have with her again is if she has the mental issues, how is she still practicing nursing? What's the issue with that? And also, that's going to come up at the trial.
Yeah.
Believe me, that will. If you're a prosecutor, will bring that up. If you claiming mental issues, why you working? Why you flying out from Texas to California? And the judge denied the bail because she said she's a flight risk, which I see their point. But as a defense attorney, we try and argue against not giving a client bail, which is your job as a defense lawyer. And those attorneys are doing their jobs. But rest in power to that, and peace to that entire family and the other individuals. I want to get the victims' names. We have Asheray Ryan, I stated her name. Her son, 11-month-old Alonzo. Her 8.5-month baby. So she was about to deliver the baby. Renault Lester. 2 other women who have not been publicly identified were also killed. But may they rest in power and peace. This is hope. It's very tragic. And that's a Mercedes she was driving. Going at that fast, at 90 miles per hour, she blew a red light. And she struck 5 cars. And not just her, even Ann Hesh. I don't know if you saw that, but Ann Hesh, she ran her car through someone's home.
Yeah.
And caught on fire. And apparently she was high on narcotics. What a brat. They found narcotic drugs in her system. So that's another thing. She could have killed that person. In my understanding, she's in a coma. But I don't know what defenses they'll make. But that person survived in the house, and I think there's a GoFundMe page for that homeowner. I don't know how much money they raised. But that homeowner is about to get the bag.
Yep. They're going to sue Ann Heche and get it all.
Oh, most definitely. There's the GoFundMe page. They raised $124,000. So on top of that, she's also going to get money against her. The woman's name is Lynn Michelle. That's her home. So that's the fire. Oh, man. And you talking about photographs, pictures that you're losing. Those things can't be replaced. That's why any photos you take, make sure they're digital. And you can save them. All of your old Polaroid pictures that you had, if you could, scan them. That way you'll have them,
Yep.
On a jump drive. But yeah. And she was actually, Ann Heche was fighting, was trying to get out of the ambulance. You saw that?
Yep. No, I didn't see it because I haven't really been paying attention to that story.
Yeah. I'm about to.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel.
That's her. Watch her car. She's driving a Cooper. You saw that?
No, I didn't see it.
That's the car right there. Watch.
US actress Anna Heche has been hospitalized in critical condition after crashing her car in the Los Angeles home. The Los Angeles Fire Department reported that the vehicle struck a 2-story house in Los Angeles' Mar Vista neighborhood, causing structural compromise and eruption in heavy fire. The 53-year-old actress initially crashed an apartment building garage before driving off, according to the image by some media outlets. The same car later crashed and heavily damaged the Mar Vista house, the ensuring blaze took 59 firefighters 65 minutes to confine and fully extinguish, according to the fire department.
What's with these people? I see this all the time, though. You're saying that she won't survive?
No, they are saying that she's not going to make it.
And H?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that she was in critical condition. I didn't see the part, but they're saying she's actually going to. She's said she suffered. Yeah, okay, I see it now. Suffered severe brain injury. She had cocaine in her system.
On that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad the homeowner survived. But it says they're already looking at donating her organs, man. Ooh. So she had a severe anoxic brain injury and remains in a coma in critical condition. Yeah, I see that here. That's what her representative. So her representative said that. What was the outcome of white man justice, black man injustice? I don't know. I think you answered your own question there.
Mechanical ventilation. The star also has burns that require surgical intervention. The 53-year-old actress crashed her car into a Los Angeles residence on Friday morning. According to a Los Angeles Fire Department press release, it took 59 firefighters over an hour to extinguish the flames and extract Haish from the driver's seat. Haish's blue Mini Cooper drove almost all the way through the house and almost immediately caught fire. The fire department told People the accident caused structural compromise and heavy fire to the one-story home.
All right, well, I'm gonna wrap this live stream up, guys. I thank y'all for being here with me. I know we started late, but Shawn has been here. I thank him for tuning in with me as always. Wasn't gonna be a long live stream, and it wasn't. So I think an hour and 30 minutes were good. In the meantime, you guys buy John Haynes, The Man with Nothing to Lose. Also, check out The Man Crisis. Go on Amazon. You can buy any of all Shawn's books to support him. He has a live stream he does tomorrow on Fridays nights at, I believe, 11 o'clock Eastern time. And Shawn, what is your live stream going to be about?
Well, it's going to be about weaponizing Pookie.
Oh, it's going to make interesting reading. Interesting.
Talking about how women these days are weaponizing Pookies.
Yeah. Like Will Smith.
Yeah.
The wannabe Pookie.
Yep.
Y'all go to Eventbrite and check out and buy tickets if you're out there in Lafayette Saturday. I'll be at the Feed and Need for the listening party. I'll be doing comedy, and I'll also be selling some Nonny's Creole seasoning blends. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nonny's goes great with every dish. That's right. Shawn likes Nonny's on his turkey burgers. They're real good.
Makes for a good Cajun spicy style.
Yeah. All right. I think we've covered everything, ladies and gentlemen. Buy Nonny's. Also, check out, if you have not, go to Amazon Kindle right now and buy The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. that's about it. I'm actually gonna have flyers I'm running on YouTube to try and promote. I'm not YouTube, on Facebook, try and promote the sale of the book I'm doing. So I'm really still trying to push this, Sean, which you always got to do.
All right.
But you could also, ladies and gentlemen, support me if you would like to go ahead and listen to some of our music that we have. I have Got to Get On Up, and also Video Sold, ladies and gentlemen, that's available in the meantime. So you all do that, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to have a good night. So let's now, since we've gotten on down, it's time to get on up. You know, I didn't do the show like I normally do because I was busy running back over here because I was running a little bit late. But it's now time to get on up. Sean, thank you for a wonderful evening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all. And I'll see y'all in the next one.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Cause on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on Earth, Wind, and Fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on the floor. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.